Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Business from Scratch podcast. I'm your host, Abby McGee. Today, I have one of my Cargo District business neighbors. Beth Faulkner is the co-owner of End of Days Distillery. She is a friend and a mentor and somebody that I've looked up to for many years. I love our conversation. We talk about things like how to work with your husband and not kill each other, how to find and support the best staff, and how to diversify your business so that one revenue stream can support another. So lots of great info today. Let's get into it. You're listening to Business from Scratch, the podcast for people building businesses they love without losing themselves along the way. I'm your host, Abby McGee. Let's get started. Hey, Beth.
Hi, Abby. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
I've known you I don't remember when I met you. It was, probably around the time that I moved into the Cargo District. We are Cargo District neighbors.
We are indeed.
So that would have been like almost 5 years ago.
Yeah, we've been in Cargo District 6.5, so I know you were a similar kind of time frame. So it's been fun getting to work with you all these years.
Yes. So I met you and your husband, Shane, and you guys have a wonderful business over there, End of Days. And we use some of your spirits at our bar and have used it. We actually use it quite a bit on weddings and events. We'll have your stuff at bars. We've used your gin in our oyster butler service.
Love that.
Gin oysters. I've known you guys for a while and use your business in my business, and I think you guys are awesome. So you've been on my list to have here.
Thank you so much.
And I'm so glad you said yes.
Thank you. It's an honor. I'm nervous, but it's an honor.
Don't be nervous. It's going to be great.
Awesome.
So you and your husband, Shane, is it just you two that are owners, or do you have other owners involved?
We do. We have a couple other partners that don't work actively in the business quite so much, but Shane and I are the founders of End of Days. Okay. So we kind of started this wild journey together. Mm-hmm.
So when you started, it was just you two co-owning the business, and then you've brought other partners in as investors over the years as you've grown the business. Okay. Yes. So how many other partners do you have?
We have 2 other active partners at this time.
Okay.
One of them works some with consulting and so forth, and then one is a silent.
Okay. Amazing. So I want to talk about when you started. I know you started like right before the world fell apart back in February of 2020, I think.
That's right.
And so you got in your building in the distillery. For how long were you open before it all went to?
6 very crazy weeks.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
So how were those first 6 weeks?
You know, it's funny, when we started this process, it took us about a year to, rehab the building, build a distillery, build the brand. So February 1st, 2020, that's our grand opening. Shane and I think maybe like 100 of our friends and family will show up. And 2,700 people came to that grand opening. Wow. I think my mouth was wide open the whole day.
I remember that. Wasn't Matt there photographing?
So yeah, it's interesting because Matt had shown up during construction, dropped off his card, and I thought, nice guy, definitely can't afford a photographer. Didn't even give it much thought because I just thought, I have an iPhone. I can take pictures. That day with 2,700 people, I didn't take a single picture. Never saw Matt in the crowd, but Matt showed up. He took pictures without us even knowing and even hiring him. I woke up that next morning just in a blur, in a fog of what we had just experienced, to an email from Matt with a group of pictures that I just value so much to this day. And at that moment, I looked at Shane and I said, I don't know this guy, and I probably can't afford him, but he's our guy. Yeah. And we've had this amazing working relationship ever since. So
yeah, we actually talked about, I had Matt on an episode that'll come out, I think, next week or a week after. And he talked about that. He didn't talk about, I did not know that on that opening day that you had not hired him. I didn't know that part of the story, but that sounds like something Matt would do. But he talked about your very long relationship with him and how he really values the clients that he's able to know the whole story and how that informs how he produces for you guys because he knows you so well. He knows your business. But yeah, so 2,700 people.
2,700
That is
people.
wild. Were you like, what in the world?
Yes.
And then what was the next six weeks like leading up to you kind of seeing the stories of what was coming
Yeah.
and navigating a new business, knowing that was, well, and I don't think any of us really knew what it was going to mean.
No.
I remember I was in a client's house chefing for her one day and she had the TV on and the news was on and I was like, this is weird. This feels weird.
Yeah.
But like, I'm sure they'll handle it. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Right.
And then the next week I was back at her house and it was like, this is not fine.
Yeah. It
So,
happened fast.
yeah.
I mean, so we start February 20th. We're super busy, cocktail program, very,
Mhm.
very busy. Just to sort of backtrack slightly, distilleries previously, prior to 2019, could not have a cocktail bar in their distillery.
Okay.
You would literally have to say, hi, I could sell you, and it was only 5 bottles a year at that time. And you have to go to Joe's bar around the corner and actually have a cocktail with our spirits. So huge groundbreaking legislature was passed in 2019 while we
Was
were under
that
construction.
state? Was that North Carolina or was
North
that?
Carolina State, yeah.
Okay.
We are, a unique alcohol
Yes,
system.
it is. It's
go on for days.
Yes, it's not ideal.
It's very difficult. Anyway, so mid-construction, we build this cocktail bar. So grand opening, cocktail programs blowing up.
Mhm.
So we actually extended, in that first 6 weeks, we extended our bar, made it twice the size that it originally was because it was such a key component of our
Mhm.
business. Had just an extremely busy 6 weeks. And then I remember, honestly, Shane and I were sitting like having brunch with our friends on a Sunday. We were supposed to go to an event. It got canceled because of COVID, but we're like,
Mhm.
COVID's, on the news in New York, but I don't know anybody in
Yeah.
Wilmington. Not that I didn't take it seriously, but it felt very distant
Right.
to us at that time. So we're sitting there having brunch and Shane's like, I can make hand sanitizer. And I very quickly, being very money-minded and thinking about
Mhm.
how we were in
Mhm.
this very expansive stage of our business, I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, we can't afford that. Like, we can't buy bottles to put hand sanitizer in.
Mhm.
He's like, I just really think we should. And that is Shane to a T. His
Mhm.
personality is always very intuitive and he's willing to change on a dime. I'm probably much more the conservative of the two business
Mhm.
partners between the two of us. So he goes ahead and does it. And from that Sunday to that next Thursday, we were at a stay-at-home order. I mean, it went just from
So fast.
So fast. So we put out some publicity blurbs out, the fact that we were making hand sanitizer. And we started giving it away to the community and sold it to businesses
Mhm.
in order to just sort of keep going. And alcohol was always essential business in North Carolina. So people would come in, get their free hand sanitizer, grab a bottle of vodka or rum. That's all we had at that time. So it was a wild.
Wait, alcohol was considered an essential business?
Indeed it was. Yep. So
I wasn't in the bar business then, so that was not on my radar, but that's funny.
Not cocktails, but
Right.
selling of bottles.
Yeah.
So it was a wild time. And we had a line wrapped around the building from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. It
That
was
is crazy.
wild. It's one of those experiences that I will never forget. And it was almost one of those things that if we didn't share it together, you just couldn't even, I can't even make the words feel as big as they were.
Uh-huh.
But it was a really crazy time, but it felt good to do something. I mean, truly, we were not doing it for a marketing purposes.
Mhm.
We did it because it felt like the right thing to do. We also did it because we did not qualify for PPP. We had only been open for 6 weeks.
Uh-huh.
So we truly were
had
like,
to.
this is our life savings.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
Yeah.
So I'm proud to say we didn't, lay off a single employee. The bartenders now became hand sanitizer. Production people, we bottled until 3, 4 in the morning sometimes when big companies had hired us to provide it. So it was just one of those moments where we thought, like, we have to be, ready to just get in the trenches and do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
But to this day, it's amazing how many people come back to me and say, I'm still your customer because I got that free hand sanitizer. So I'm really
Wow.
proud of the fact that
Mm-hmm.
it did embed us in the community. People kind of saw who we are, what we
Mm-hmm.
stand for. And it's been something that I look back, even though it was a really tough time in all of
Yeah.
our lives and all of our businesses,
Mm-hmm.
I do look back with fond memories
Yeah.
of what it did for us.
Do you think that that changed for you, knowing that, you just said that you're the more conservative of the two of you? Did that experience change that at all for you? Like moving forward, were you more willing to be like, trust that his wild idea was going to work and just, or, I feel like that changed a lot for all of us. The way we thought about business, the way we thought about life, the way we thought about community
Yeah.
changed so drastically. So I can imagine that it would shift something in you.
I will say that Shane and I have been business partners almost all of our marriage, which is
Mhm.
30 years in September.
Wow.
So although this business is 6.5 years new, prior to
Mhm.
that, we worked in another business together for 23 years. So I will say that that part of him I've always appreciated. And I know
Mhm.
I think we round each other out as business
Mhm.
partners, because the things that maybe my structure, my conservative nature,
Mhm.
that keeps him grounded. But on the
Mhm.
other hand, he keeps me in a much more exciting world than I
Yeah.
would be without him. So
Mhm.
I would say that basis was already there. But for sure, the process of going through a pandemic and navigating a business, without question, it's always a reminder to me that we cannot continue to do things the same. Because maybe right now in 2026, we're not going through a pandemic, but the world is different.
Yeah.
The economy is different. Our buyers are different. Our teammates, employees are different. So we do have to constantly be fresh and
Mhm.
innovative and think about what's happening and not be scared to make changes when it's necessary.
Yeah. Well, that's the difference in businesses that survive and thrive and
Yeah.
grow and businesses that don't. And, my we're both in businesses that you have to pivot, you have to shift constantly. Because the world is different. You are correct. And then like how do we navigate as a business that our food costs have skyrocketed and the gas has skyrocketed and that affects our food costs even more, and
Right.
how we get our product to our customers, and people's our staff, their needs have changed because the cost of living is going up, and how do we pivot and account for that, and what are people willing to pay for now?
Sure.
And it is a constant daily shifting. And I started Salt and Charm shortly before COVID hit as well, and trying to find ways. We had just moved in. Well, no, we were making plans to move into the kitchen space, but like figuring out we couldn't hold dinner parties and we couldn't do a lot of
Yeah.
things, but what could we do? And so we were like porch dropping food to people and finding kitchens that we could work in, and that our business skyrocketed during that time.
Yeah.
And but it is, even without a pandemic, you're right, like there are so many things shifting on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And the business owners that survive and grow are the ones that can see it and tweak their business.
Absolutely. And I do think the businesses that have endured the pandemic and are on the other side of it and still continuing to grow, they are different because of that experience. It
Mhm.
really did shape people you have to
Mhm.
have grit to do
Yeah.
this. I mean, there are many days where you want to throw in the hat, or you think, am I doing the right thing? Or
Mhm.
this is hard. But like all things in life, you just have to keep going.
Mhm.
And that process, or going through that experience, definitely embedded that in us as business owners.
Yeah.
So,
I want to talk about like being married to the person that you're in business with.
yeah.
I think it's hard to be in business in general.
Yeah.
And I own a business that I'm the sole owner, and I own a business that I have a partner that has its own challenges. And then when you add in the extra spice of it being your husband, how do you guys navigate that? First of all, like what do each of you do? What's your main category of responsibility?
So Shane, he does everything, honestly. He currently is not always distilling. We have a distilling
Mhm.
production manager now who does an amazing job. But in the very
Mhm.
beginning, he was distilling and
Mhm.
doing every single piece of the business. So he's definitely just heavily involved. This business, which is very unique, is almost like 4 different silos. And let me tell you, I did not know the complexity of it when we started down this path. I'm like, oh, we're going to open a distillery. We're going to sell alcohol.
Mhm.
Well, we basically have a bar, we have a retail space, we have a distribution company, and then we have a manufacturing company. So, oh, and then we throw in Concept Kitchen at one point, and we have a kitchen. So it's a complex business that involves kind of all these different teams to run. So Shane definitely oversees each of those teams. I work on the accounting side, operations side, HR, oversee aspects of the lounge. But I will say it is not just Shane and I. We
Mhm.
100% are the product or the success of an amazing team that
Yep.
leads each of those teams. And
Yep.
so I'm always very careful to say, like, it is not just us.
Right.
If we did not have the people supporting us
Mhm.
and driving these sections, there would be no End of Days Distillery. So
Yeah.
I always want to give credit where credit's due. As far as navigating that as spouses, I think we have communication is huge.
Mhm.
We definitely have learned in we've been together about 33 years, just how to communicate with each other and how to be respectful.
Mhm.
So just respecting, each other's decision-making process. You don't need to fight every decision, and even decisions that I don't always see the value of, like
Mhm.
the hand
Like hand
sanitizer.
sanitizer.
Having trust and faith in your partner. And then when it doesn't work, being, humble enough to say, like, man, that wasn't a great decision, and not holding it against that person. So we both made mistakes without question and business decisions, but we don't hold that against each other. We're just always striving for the common goal of how
Mhm.
can we make this successful. And then doing our best as much as we can to separate. Like, we cannot talk about business all the time. And that
Yeah.
is a struggle. That's
Is
probably the
that a
greatest struggle.
rule? Like as soon as we come home at
No,
night?
it should be more of a rule than it is, quite frankly. I'm going to be honest. But we have to force ourselves. I mean, as you know, as a business owner, you are on 24/7.
Mhm.
And I'm running a business that on Saturday nights is operating and Sundays is operating. So maybe I'm not physically there working, but I need to be on. I need to be available for the team. So it's hard to shut that off, but just trying to take time and carve that out for each other and just being kind and respectful. I mean, it's simpler than I think we often make it.
Right.
We try to make it complicated, but it's just treating each other like
Right.
we want to be treated, and that goes a really long ways.
It does. And, entrepreneurs and business owners are strong-willed people. And so I think that is probably the biggest challenge is like you're going to have big opinions. You're going to have big feelings. You're going to have thoughts about everything, and tempering that and taming that into something that remains respectful is a great word, like remains respectful, honors the gift of the other person and what they're bringing to the table, and trusting them to make the right decision. And when they don't make the right decision, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
It's just let's
Right.
figure it out and keep moving. And it's hard work. It's hard. Marriage is hard work. Business ownership is hard work. And when you mix the two, it can be very volatile. And so it's amazing that you guys have figured out a way to manage that for so many years.
Well, I would say it's always a work in progress for sure. I think we both share the core value that our business cannot be who we are. And it's hard as a business owner not to get stuck in that. That becomes your identity. I think our own personal moral compasses, we want our business to enhance our life. We want it to be something that provides for our family. But at the end of the day, no pun intended, we recognize that it is not our most important accomplishment. And so trying to keep that also in perspective is very important. And I think we share that that similar feeling, and that can be kind of the guiding force for us as we're navigating our business and so forth.
Yeah. This episode is supported by Salt and Charm, the business I built long before this podcast ever existed. We offer luxury private chef experiences, full service catering, and curated weekly meal prep delivery in Wilmington and surrounding areas. Salt and Charm is where I've learned the lessons I share here about resilience, leadership, growth, and building something that doesn't run your life. We believe hosting should feel joyful and everyday meals should feel intentional. If you're in Wilmington, Hampstead, Wrightsville Beach, or Brunswick County, we'd love to serve you. Visit us on Instagram at Salt and Charm and on our website at saltandcharm.co to learn more. And just for our listeners here on the podcast, get $10 off your next meal prep order by using code podcast at checkout. Every week, we feed hundreds of people at their dinner tables, and we would love to help make your week a little less stressful and a lot more delicious. I want to go back to, you were talking about your staff and how important they are in the success of your business. And that's so true. And when you first start a business, you are doing everything.
Yeah.
In the very beginning, you might have some, you guys had to have staff when you first opened because you had to have bartenders and, support staff. But as you grow a business, learning how to hire well and then trust those people to help you grow the business is a skill. Yeah. And I would love to hear how you guys approach hiring and how you approach managing your leaders.
So I always say I hire personalities more than I hire skills because I think both are important, but you can teach. The things that we're asking people to do, we're not asking people to do surgery, things that you have to be expertly trained on. A lot of things can be trained, but personalities are very embedded in who you are as an individual. So in that interview process, I really focus in on just chemistry with that person, talking to them, getting to know their personality. How do they navigate difficult situations? Has it been foolproof? No, but it has served me very, very well. And I have been fortunate to find and hire amazing individuals that are with our team today based on that strategy. As far as empowering them, I think it's really important to give clear direction, but to not micromanage. Most people just really do not flourish or blossom in an environment where they're just constantly, put on the constantly picking at or asking too many questions. It is hard as a business owner because this is your baby, this is your livelihood. So finding people who love it like you love it, it's very difficult. But we try our best to recognize this is the end product that we want. Now, how you choose to get there, we're going to empower you to do that. So that allows them to use their own skills and things that bring joy to their life or help them feel fulfilled to accomplish that. Right. And that has been a strategy that has been successful for us.
Yeah, that's so important to let people flourish. And you hired them for a reason. You hired them because they have a certain skill set and the right personality. And then to let them excel in that is so important. It helps them feel fulfilled. How much importance do you, I know for me, you're constantly balancing the financial success of your business, right? And you want to be profitable, but you also want your team to be successful financially and investing enough into your team where they feel good about where they are personally and is so important. And do you guys put emphasis on that? When you find a good person, you're going to do what it takes to help them both feel successful, in the product that they're creating and the work they're putting their hands to, but successful personally too.
Yes. And I find that, at least with my team, work-life balance is extremely important. It's interesting, I'm a generation or so past a lot of the people that work with us, and what's important to them probably wasn't necessarily as important to me at their age. but just the world as it is and how people feel, and maybe just the industry that we're hiring or working in. You know, I don't have many employees that are like, I want to grind out 60 hours a week. Like that's really not their love language. So I think learning each individual person and what is important to them, I do try to cater the way I work with each individual, and so that I'm hopefully giving them the greatest experience, but making it more individual. Not that you can do totally different things for each individual person, but I think we have to deal, just almost like I think about as a mother, you learn to deal with your children individually as to what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are and what makes them happy and what upsets them. Well, the same thing as an employer, I think you just have to really get to know your team and try to cater the way you work with them so that you are giving them the tools to really fully blossom. Those are all the things I think that are really important to us. The other thing is we oftentimes will give promotions within. So people get hired. Most of our bartenders started as a bar back, and then I've seen people from a person that we hired in the retail shop ended up being had a sales position. So I like to really see where people excel and then find ways to use them in a greater capacity within the business, if at all possible.
That's great. I've hired 2 people recently that, you know, in what you just said about people being used to working or not wanting to work 60, 70 hours a week. I've hired 2 chefs recently who, during the interview process, they were, you know, they really wanted to work with us, and they were like, well, I'm used to working 60, 70 hours a week and I can do that. And I was like, well, you're not going to do that here. That's not what we do.
It's like
and it was like the relief, because they felt like they had to communicate that they were willing to do that because that's the norm, that's the standard. And I was like, well, you would not do that here. We value people having a life, being healthy, physically, mentally, emotionally, like your family is important, your friends are important. And it was like, they were like, really?
Yeah.
You wouldn't make me do that? And it was such a relief to them. But, you know, we work really hard. And sometimes in our business, working 40 hours a week can feel like you're working 70.
Sure.
It's so physically taxing and mentally taxing. So we really try. That's a value of ours, is to let people have a life, but still be able to feel successful financially and professionally. So
even from the very beginning, us closing at 9 o'clock, I mean, that is not a profitable decision as a lounge, just that piece of our business. But we specifically made that decision to support a team that would allow them to have work-life balance, and also to support all the bars and restaurants that are supporting us. So when people want to stay late at End of Days, we're like, you know, go to the Starling, go to different places around town. We encourage them to visit different locations that we know are supporting us. There's plenty of places to get drinks late, but that was also a decision to choose people over profit for us.
That's amazing. And I know that your team appreciates that. And that is a hard decision to make, because it's not the right financial decision necessarily. Yeah. But I think those decisions come back to you in the long term, and you see their value, and you see the profit in that too, to keep your team happy, and they'll create a better product, and in the end it's better all the way around. You guys have won tons of awards, and that's amazing. How does that feel? Does that feel validating to you, or does that not matter to you so much?
Of course it matters. I think I always pinch myself for any of them, because I do think that they're all we've worked hard for them, but I don't ever take anything as deserved. I always, am very appreciative of it. I do still think that our core value is we have to feel good about the product that we're producing. And the greatest compliments probably come from people walking in and talking about the experience they had with us. We feel very strongly that you could have the best cocktail, you could even taste the best spirit, but what people typically remember the very most is how you made them feel.
That is 100% true.
So our big thing is, we want everything that embodies End of Days, whether you're sipping our spirit and hopefully reading that story on the side of the bottle that Creature Theory was so amazing, and nod to them and the great marketing work that they have helped us build with our business. There's a total, what am I trying to say? Attention to detail. That's very important to us, and we want the moment you walk in or the moment you taste that spirit to feel what we're trying to pour into it, which is somebody worked really, really hard on that. We care about the fact that people are choosing us. I always say, you're not going to get a thank you card from Tito's and that's not to call them out because they're an amazingly successful business. So I'm saying nothing negative, but I mean, it means something to Shane and I and to our team for every person that chooses to support us. And so the feedback that we get from our customers, that's probably what I value the very, very most, because it means so much that they're choosing to spend their hard-earned dollars, on products that we make.
Yeah. I feel like that's such an important attitude towards business, and not just in the hospitality industry that we're in, right? People expect hospitality industries to be hospitable, but every business needs to take a page out of that book. There are some businesses that I've been to that aren't food or beverage related at all. I might be taking my car in for an oil change. If I don't feel like you care that I'm there and that you are, glad to see me, and not that I need like tons of validation, but I want to know that you care about my business.
Absolutely.
And if I don't feel that, chances are I'm not going to come back here.
Agreed.
The ones that make me feel it's like Cheers, if people know my name,
yeah,
I will be fiercely loyal. And I think every industry needs to do better at that.
I agree.
And hospitality too, like that's a value of ours. We're very intentional about how people feel when they're enjoying what we do and enjoying our service. But sometimes I'll go to a restaurant and I'm like, did y'all forget what business you're in?
Exactly. And the food could have been fantastic.
Yes.
But the overshadowing experience was that you didn't feel that hospitality.
Yes.
So we feel very strongly it needs to be, we want to make an amazing spirit. We want it to be award winning, but we want you to feel who we are, what we stand for, what this brand is built around, and then hope that you will choose to continue to spend time with us.
Yeah. I think that's fantastic.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. And I think there's so many reasons and so many ways for us, business aside, to just be angry all the time, be anxious all the time, be like in a bad mood all the time.
Yeah.
And it takes intentionality to get out of that.
Yeah.
And to show love and to show care and to be a helper. And if you're in business and you're not being intentional, like, why are you in business?
Exactly.
Right? What's the point? So whatever business you're in, the point should be to be of service to your own life, like, funding your own life and your own peace and your prosperity, but also imparting that to whoever is enjoying your business.
Absolutely.
Or partaking of your business. And it's intentional. It has to be, because we're just mad all the time.
Well, and there's so many external factors, right? And for our teammates even, they may have had a really hard day. How do you check that at the door and now give that experience to every guest who was having a hard day and walked in our door to have a better day? So you have to constantly work at it. I think it's something that we coach a lot, but we're really thankful again in choosing personalities in that hiring process. You're looking for people who share that core value and who are willing to put in the work and really implement it, even sometimes when it's not easy. And then as team members, to lift each other up when you're having a bad day, or maybe take a little extra slack off of somebody else because you recognize they're struggling. And then if we all do that for each other, then you have a really happy team.
Yeah, that's great. What are you guys looking forward to?
So we just last Friday released our canned ready-to-drink cocktail Paloma.
I love a Paloma. It's one of my
Paloma.
favorites.
So I got a Paloma for you.
Okay.
That was released on World Paloma Day. It's wild. Our Hurricane canned cocktail has kind of always been our number one seller, but we are actually seeing this Paloma even outsell that, like at festivals and so forth. We had been sort of testing the market for a couple years prior to actually releasing it. So we're excited to see where that goes. Right now, there's some really serious legislature that's in the news. That's possible that ready-to-drink canned cocktails will go into grocery stores.
Cool.
So that would be a whole huge, wild game changer for us. I mean, not without its own difficulties to navigate as far as distribution and so forth and demand. But that could be a huge game changer for us as a North Carolina distillery, because currently that can only be sold in an ABC store or out of the distillery.
Are you guys producing your canned cocktails in-house?
Yes. So everything's done in-house.
Yeah. So I don't know a whole lot about that, but I do know it's not as simple as shaking up a cocktail and pouring it in a can and closing it up.
No.
It's very different.
Quite frankly, it kicked our butt.
Yeah.
It was one of the more challenging products to really make, and goodness knows we had can failures and all the mistakes along the way. It has a very high, in general in the industry, has a very high failure rate. So of course we want to navigate that. That's an expensive problem to have. We started off with a very small machine. We have a couple of years ago invested in a much larger machine. It can do, a pallet, 2 pallets in about 3 hours now. The ABC system is such that we have to ship everything to a main distribution center in Raleigh, and then each of the ABC stores has to order it and then stock their shelves. So it's a lot of hands, and there's a lot of mishandling of cans, which also causes some challenges. But it's been a process to tweak the recipe. I mean, we're making like 250 gallons at a time, so it's a lot. But it is definitely a huge industry move. And so, again, just trying to stay current with the times. What do people want? That's been something that we've worked really hard to do.
Did you have to bring in people with specialized knowledge to know how to create a drink that could be canned? Or did y'all just figure it out on your own?
We started with our 3 most popular cocktails in the lounge, and then it was a lot of trial and error. The actual company that we bought our canning machine from has, great experts who come and do on-site visits and work with you. We've had to send off our cocktails to labs that can do the pH and all the different factors that can possibly cause issues with can failures. So it's just, I wish I could say that we've been super scientific with it and had all this expertise behind it. A lot of it's been trial and error.
Yeah.
But that's being a small business owner. But fortunately, for the most part, we have a product that is doing very, very well, and we see huge growth in that category.
That's great. That's so exciting.
Thank you.
You guys have your hands in so many different things.
Yeah.
So
that's Shane Faulkner for you.
What else can we do?
I
think that's the sign of a healthy business too, though. I mean, it's hard to have one income stream. If you can diversify in your industry a little bit in a informed, wise way, then it insulates you a little bit from like one part of your business like struggling.
Absolutely.
So
this is a very, I think more than I ever realized going into it, extremely capital intensive business, because one of our biggest pieces is aging of spirits. So we're making bourbon, you're making, it's all that cost up front. That is sitting for 6-8 years in a rick house. Electricity, not producing any revenue. So a lot of these streams, our clears, our lounge, our retail store, those are all things that are actually financially supporting that other piece
funding
of
the other thing.
Correct.
Yes.
So we purposely made sure that we were diversified in all those different ways to help, infuse capital into this business that needs a lot.
Yeah. Your first bourbon came out how long ago? Like a year ago?
So we did it at 2 years. It was young. We were very transparent about the fact that it was a young bourbon. People were so kind and bought it. And I'm sure it did not taste the best by any stretch of the imagination.
Was that a decision, a strategic decision just to get income generating for that?
Yes. I mean, by definition, bourbon can be a bourbon after it's been aged for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we just had a lot of our, guests and customers saying like, we're ready for bourbon, we're ready for
Mm-hmm.
bourbon. So we released it, very transparent. This is young. We're now at that 6-year mark. 6 to 8 is sort of the real sweet spot in our industry. Of course, people like older, but there's a lot of data that shows that age is really kind of the prime of that spirit. So we're really getting into some amazing bourbons that are coming out. We did an American single malt release last year, which it was just one barrel. It sold out in one weekend. That was super fun and tasted great. So yes, we kind of made that strategic decision, and we've released a bourbon every year, and it just keeps, and I always say, the older we get, the better this bourbon's going to get. And I'm just so thankful that I've had so many loyal customers who've, continued on that ride with us.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a cask investment program, so people can invest in a cask. They get 100% of their investment back when we actually barrel that bourbon, and then they get to buy that bourbon at distiller's cost. So it's a pretty fun program. Again, helped to infuse money into that sector of the business.
That's smart.
And people like it, they feel special about it. I mean, I have lots of people walking in, can I see my barrel? Can I take a picture of my barrel?
Oh,
and then even
fun.
when we harvest that barrel, oftentimes we'll have parties for the cast member. We kind of give them VIP experience at any of the events we're doing. And it's been great to have so many, families and businesses in Wilmington, even across the country, kind of go on this aging journey with us.
That's so fun.
It's been great.
And exciting. And what a testament to the grit and determination of a business owner to invest that much into something that you really won't see a return on for a good long time.
It's scary. I won't lie.
Yeah.
But it's been very rewarding, and it's nice to taste the end product now. And it's like, okay, great. It does taste good.
That's so exciting. Well, if you haven't been to End of Days, go.
Please.
Go to End of Days, and then come right around the corner to the Starling.
That's right.
And we can give you more End of Days. But I love our community too, and the Cargo District is such a special place, and it has grown a lot of really great businesses over there, and it's been an honor to be a part of it and to get to know you and Shane and see you guys grow at the same time that we are, and it's a special place. So Cargo District, come visit us,
please.
Both of us, come visit both of us.
That's right. I think I love the fact that we're cheering each other on. Yeah. That's what it's all about. Everybody's success only makes someone else successful, especially within our community. And I feel strongly about that, and grateful for all the great mentors and just support that we've experienced. And I want to give that also back.
Well, and I felt that from you guys too. And, it could have gone the other way when we opened Starling. You guys were already open, and it could have been weird, and it wasn't at all. You guys we've supported each other. And, Matt says this a lot, and it's so true that, life is too short to have weird feelings about other people.
Yeah.
There's room for everybody in this business and in our community to succeed. And I would rather spend my energy supporting and encouraging and like cheering you on than feeling like I got to keep my piece of the pie.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I know we very much feel like bars and restaurants, they are our allies. They are the bread and butter. That ABC store will bring in product if a bar is ordering it. So although we have a cocktail program, that cocktail program is meant for people to walk in and allow us to market the spirits that we're producing. But we 100% want to encourage people to go to other bars, other restaurants. I think it's so important to feel like we're supporting each other, and that we're in a weird time in alcohol, and so all the more we need to support each other and just kind of cheer each other on.
For sure. Thank you so much for
Thanks,
coming.
Abby.
Where can people find you?
So Instagram, it's EOD Distillery. Website is eoddistillery.com. And please come check us out. We do tours and tastings Wednesday through Saturday, 11 to 4:30. That's a fun, interactive experience free of charge. We now have a restaurant on our patio, which is there full time. So please come check out Mibby's Deli. Come see us at End of Days Distillery. And the cool part is you can order our spirits online now. So about 43
Very cool.
states, it can be shipped directly to your door.
Okay.
So even if you have friends in other states or you live in another state, most likely we can ship to you, and we would love for you to taste what we're producing.
Yes, for sure. And your space is just the coolest.
Thank you.
It's just a great place to go hang out and have a cocktail. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Beth.
Thanks, Abby.
Thanks for joining me on Business from Scratch. Follow the show for more honest conversations about building a business that works for you.